Hello, friends. I'm Dan Phelps. This is The Joy of Recording, Episode 4. If you're just joining us, in the last 3 episodes, I've been showing you how I create a track from scratch using various production techniques and also a heaping helping of improvisation. Where we're at now is that I have a rhythm track, I have an ambient layer, which was the very first thing that I created, and I have a melodic guitar improvisation, which is what I did in the last episode. What I've done since then is gone through and edit some of the drum loops and some of the rhythm elements that I created in order to follow the arc of an arrangement, starting simply and getting more complex and more rhythmic as the piece goes on. The idea of arrangement is something that I'm kind of always keeping in mind. From the very beginning, I'm thinking about mood and texture and setting, and also trying to improvise things that have a sense of flow and arrangement to them. So, what I have here is kind of the bare bones of a pretty interesting sounding track. And it's at this point that my options diverge. I can either start ornamenting this and adding things that kind of grow the arrangement and fill them out, sort of the icing on the cake or the kind of lace around the edges, if you will, or I can try to find another sort of low end bass register instrument to outline the chords. And which direction I go is really totally dependent on how I'm feeling in the moment. My recommendation to you, if you're kind of putting yourself through a similar practice, is just follow the inspiration. Try the next thing that you hear, whether it's something really fundamental to the piece or something that is just adding a little bit of color or growth to the arrangement. At this stage, though, where there's kind of very few elements, I'm still trying to think about playing parts that could have been played by a human in a group performance. When there's so few elements, I don't necessarily start putting the tiny little touches on that you would at the very end of creating a piece and recording it. I'm still looking for something that feels like, oh, there's the other guy in the band who just decided to come in or who is tastefully adding something to the piece at large. So the first thing that I'm hearing on this is when the second verse, what we'll call the verse or the A section, rolls around, I'm wanting something to come in and join in the harmony with a different texture. I have this very dark, sort of Daniel Lanois-esque Buddy Miller guitar figure that happens here. It sounds like this. That's kind of furry and a little indistinct. There's plenty of delay, and that tremolo is in there, kind of pulsing arrhythmically in the track. So, my first thought of something that I want to try is a really contrasting sound. I'm hearing slide acoustic guitar to come in and either play the melody with it or some sort of complementary part. And as the other sections go by, I'm going to think about it in terms of what would another musician play to complement this track and add something to all of the kind of open and improvisational sections. So I'm going to grab my acoustic guitar, get a sound going, and see if I can find something that works. Now, I might try 3 or 4 different things in the process of landing on the right idea. So I can't guarantee that this is going to be the deal. The important part in this process is just to continue to move and not get bogged down in the details. So let's go. So I've switched to headphones so that I don't have bleed in the acoustic mic, and I'm using my nice microphone. It's a older Sound Deluxe U95. It's a tube condenser mic. And I'm playing my Ronin guitars, Georgia Lee, a small bodied acoustic guitar. And I'm just going to try to fill in some good spots in the track and see if I can cause it to grow in what feels like a meaningful way. So here we go. Okay, in messing around with this, I've already decided that I'm going to play this part simply, and I know I'm going to go back and double it so that I get a cool stereo effect later. Also, as a side note, as far as mic technique on acoustic instruments, I'm just kind of listening to how the guitar sounds on the mic, and I'm trying to move my body and the guitar into a position that is conducive to what I'm hearing in the headphones. So let's get this part. So I think this texture will probably come back at another point in the song, but I'm going to go ahead and do the double because I want to hear how that sounds. So in Pro Tools, I'm just duplicating the track, and I'm going to pan one of them hard left and one of them hard right, and double that part now so I can enjoy the magic of production. Here we go. Okay, so I'm playing around with something here, which is that on some parts I'm purely doubling the other guitar track, and on some parts I'm doing harmony. So there's a bit of experimentation and messing around to make this work. Just trying different ideas. Now that I've got that part doubled, I'm starting to see if there's another part, maybe a way that this acoustic guitar fills out that next section. What I'm calling a C section or a bridge. Could be melodic. I'm also wondering if there's a way that I can maybe outline those chords there and use kind of the stereo effect to make it feel really wide. So I'm gonna play around with that concept for a second. So I think I've figured out what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a picking part that has a 3/4 sort of feel, kind of a. See how that feels. I think it'll sound cool doubled with that kind of sparkly counter rhythm happening on the left and right sides of the mix. Okay, this is going at a pretty good clip for me, actually. I'm happy with this. You'll notice that as I reach the next section, I'm just trying stuff, kind of still improvising, even though I've reserved the right to go back and punch in or fix something. I'm still improvising and messing around a little bit to try to stumble onto things. And here during the outro, there's this acoustic texture when you're playing with the slide. You can put the slide at the 5th fret and pluck the strings behind the slide. If you apply a little vibrato while you're doing it, it creates a cool ghostly texture. So I like that at the end. I'm going to go lay that into the double so I have that cool stereo effect there. And then I'm going to go back and just do a quick edit where I do all the crossfades and make sure that these two slide guitars are sounding how they're supposed to sound. Okay, I'm going to put that together. Okay, so now we have successfully added another feature to this song, a new thing in the arrangement. It kind of expands the harmonic and frequency range of what I have so far, gives a cool contrast to the initial guitar improvisation, and I'm digging it. It kind of creates a variety of textures throughout different sections of the piece without being comprised of a bunch of disparate, different, completely contrasting sounds. It still sounds kind of performative, like someone might have played this part. So I'm going to leave it here for now. This is the next overdub, and we'll get into continuing to pile things onto this track in the next video. If you want to hear the whole thing as it is right now, I'll put a link to SoundCloud in the notes below so you can hear it at this current stage rather than making you listen to the whole thing at the end of this video. And also, if you're just getting started with recording and you want to learn more, you want to get the right gear, you're not sure about what to buy, I have a link to a very helpful free guide and checklist for you. You find the link in the notes below. You can find the link to my website below. If you don't subscribe to this channel, please subscribe and click the bell icon so you get notified when I post new things. And otherwise, I'll see you next week.